Hi, I'm Brian from Simply Brian Enterprises and welcome to my channel. Whoa, check that out! I got my green screen working and I couldn't be happier. Today's video we're going to talk about TopTechBoy's Raspberry Pi class, the homework solution for class number 3. Let's jump into it here a little bit. I don't want to take up all your time today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run our program. So if you remember from week 3 of the Raspberry Pi class, we are just inputting grades and we're doing things in for loops. So the first thing we're going to do is input the number of grades. So I'm going to do 3 grades and I'm going to go through a for loop to enter the grades. And we're going to do a 97. Oh, we had a bad day, so we're going to do 85. But then we had a good day. We got a perfect score. Look at that. And the code goes through, takes the grades, prints them out, and calculates the average. So let's take a look at the code and see how we did it. First thing I did is, let's get that out of the way. Went through and set up a blank array, initialized a value for calculating the total grades, and then we're going to use a variable to calculate the array length, which we're going to use for the average. So the first thing I did is ask the question, how many grades, and I'm going to take that as an int stored in my grades. In this case, I did 3, so now I'm going to do my first of 3 for loops. I'm going to just set a counter value of range 0 to my grades. So if I put in 3, I'm going to loop 0, 1, 2 in steps of 1. And then I'm going to take the value and I'm going to ask the user for the grade for each value in the array. This code is a little interesting, so I want to walk through it a little bit. The first thing I did is I want to display the grade number. Now the array is going to be 0 through 2, but the user is going to be 1 through 3. So the first thing I did is I took the iteration of the loop, so my counter plus 1. So it's displaying, even though we're writing into slot 0 of the array, we're displaying slot 1 to the user. And then I'm doing a concatenation to put the number sign and the grade number next to each other. And then I'm taking that as an input and converting it to a float value, and then appending it to this array called myGrades, which I initialized above. So I wanted to make that clear. There's a lot going on here in this single line, but it's a lot more efficient if I just kind of concatenate things together. Once we have the array populated with the grades from the user, we're going to print a header up here. And now I'm going to hit our second for loop, which is averaging the grades. Now, I could very easily take my grades and just use that down here in my averaging loop. However, I've gotten into the habit with my Python projects of assuming that we don't know the length of the array, so we're actually going to figure it out as part of the for loop. So I'm going to start with taking my grades, and I'm going to say for my grade and my grades. Now I like doing where I take a singular in plural. So the plural is my grades, that's the array. My grade is a single item in the array. And the beauty of this is I don't need to know the length of the array. I'm just saying for each item in the array, my grades, we're going to loop through one by one my singular my grade. As we go through the loops, we're going to increment the length by 1. So plus equal 1 means my grades len equals my grades len plus 1. It's just a shorthand rather than writing it all out. I like to use the plus equal construct rather than writing out the variable name twice. And then we do the same thing here. We're going to do my grades total plus equal my grades. So my grades total equals my grades total plus my grade. So each time through the loop, this number is going to get larger. Then after we've completed the loop, so we looped through it what will be 3 times, 0, 1, 2. Now I'm taking that total value, the count of the array, I'm sorry, the total of the grades first, and then dividing by the count of the array. So I'm going to take the total sum of my grades divided by, in this case, 3. And now I'm going to complete the program with the third for loop. Again, I'm going to reset the length of the array. I'm going to pretend I don't know it. My grade and my grades, so singular and plural. Again, accumulating my grades len every time through the loop so we know the length of it. And then we're going to print out, as we loop through the array 0, 1, 2, we're going to print out the grades in each spot in the array. Now I want to point out something here because I did something that might look a little peculiar if you're not familiar with it. Anytime I want to append values in a print statement, so I'm taking a grade number 1, which is which time through the loop are we going through, and then that value out of the array. If we use a comma, which is kind of the familiar delimiter in a print statement, we always get a space. So if I just did a grade number here, comma, my grades len, I would have a space between the number sign and the 1. And I don't want that. I want it to be number sign 1, sorry, left and right, number sign 1. I want them to be next to each other. I can do that by, instead of using a comma, I use a plus, which is string concatenate. But I run into a problem because the plus sign is either a numerical addition, so I take numeric plus numeric equals a numeric, or I take a concatenation, which is string plus string equals another string concatenated together. If I try to do string plus numeric, it will generate an error and crash the program because it doesn't have a facility for converting that numeric to a string. So anytime I use a plus to concatenate strings together, I need to specify I am converting my grades len, which is an integer, into a string value for display purposes. And then after that's displayed, I'm just going to do a simple print the grade average. I already know what my average value is. I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places because more than likely this is a floating point value that doesn't evenly divide. Mine evenly divided into an integer, but it won't always do that. And then I converted it. Again, I did this append as a string. And that is my solution for Raspberry Pi Lesson 3. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again next time.